F1000, we're back. It's 2025. What'd you think of that, Mike? I didn't show Mike that before.
What? What was that?
I don't know. I made it in Canva. Apparently, that song is just free rights in Canva.
There's- That's I don't know what was happening there. A couple donuts, though. I saw that. That was pretty sweet.
Couple of donuts, little bit of a countdown. So, I mean, that's the big change for this year. And welcome back. It's 2025. It's the Australian Grand Prix F1000. I'm Chaps. That's Mike. We are focusing on our YouTube show and our YouTube channel. Right now, we've got the live show. We're also going to be having a cut together, kind of 3 to 5 minute highlight show of just the bets that we land on. That's going to be coming out this evening. So keep your eyes open for that. But you should see the big difference is we're only going to YouTube so that Mike can get full quality of the equipment that he is using. We're not using third parties. How you feeling today, Mike? How's it looking? How's everyone doing?
Mm, I'm excited. Oh, okay, I'm excited. And then on the other side of the coin, the Australian Grand Prix in Albert Park have kind of been a nightmare for us traditionally, right? Every year I stay up in the middle of the night just to watch us lose all our money in the dumbest ways possible. So I'm very much looking forward to kicking off the season in a different way. How about you?
I agree. Well, it's not Bahrain kicking off the season, so it is kicking off in a different way. Um, we got 6 rookies on the grid, Mike. We've got the closest field that is it in history. I mean, Jolien kind of threw that out there. It could be. It's among the closest grids in history. It's going to be a tough season. I'm ready. I'm excited. I think we just get into it. As I just mentioned, the Australian Grand Prix. So it's the first race of the year. I'm going to pull up. We're going to do some screen share, and we're going to have a lot of fun with the live here. This is the Pirelli image. There we go. So we've got the mid-range of the tires, the C3, C4, C5. There is a C6 now this year for, well, pretty much Monaco is the only spot they're going to use it. In general, this is an all-around track. It's actually a great track to be starting the year on because it has a combination of corners. It's smack dab in the middle from a downforce level perspective. And historically, it's been the starting track. We haven't been here for 10 years, but a lot of the drivers, including Lewis Hamilton, this was their starting, their maiden race. And with 6 rookies on the grid, it's very fitting that we start here.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the track itself, it's a bumpy street circuit. But overtaking is still, really tricky, even though they've got what, like, there's 4 DRS zones, right? So it's
Four
despite that.
zones, but only
Yeah,
2 detection points, which is very
right.
interesting because it's those little chicanes, I think, that are between them where
Exactly.
you can, I mean, if you get aggressive, you make a pass in there and then you can continue your overtake with the benefit of DRS as the leading car in that second zone.
And that's going to be key because again, it's difficult. It's difficult traditionally to overtake here, even though they've got those detection points and zones. I think the cool and wet and windy conditions that we're expecting could make tire warm up a struggle, right? So maybe graining like last year can be a problem again. And and they got rid of that. They had that chicane, right? They got the 910 chicane because George nearly died, right? I think it's really the only major track change.
Well, it is, but they didn't change the actual track. Now they changed the curb and they brought the gravel closer. The corner itself, I don't think has changed. It's the barrier that doesn't intrude as much, so it's not going to shoot George Russell upside down back onto the circuit.
Yeah, I guess visually it's changed.
Visually, it's changed. Well, the curb has made a big difference, and it the main talking point of the weekend so far in that it caused a red flag with all the gravel
Yeah.
coming onto the track in practice session. The reality is that the curb is a lot softer. It's not as damaging on the driver, so they're taking advantage of it. The fastest way through that corner sequence is to take a little bit of gravel, it seems. So, but what that's led to is Kimi Antonelli goes a little bit too much on the curb, damages his floor, and all of a sudden he's out in Q1, where George put it, I think, in P2 in Q1 at that point. So that corner has been the main talking point. You're right. It is different. The track hasn't changed, but it's had a huge effect just on how the drivers are approaching it through the weekend.
So let me start us off with something because I talked about our history there very briefly at the beginning and the fact that we've got tricky conditions. You already talked about how there's 6 rookies on the grid and the grid itself is probably closer than ever. I I'm looking at a red flag at plus money, at plus 120. I think what 3 of the last 5 of the Australian Grand Prix have been red flagged. Like, is this race not just going to get red flagged at some point? Is that should
That's
we
very
just
interesting. Well, I like
should we
that.
be
Let's
on
jump
that?
in. Let's
Should we
jump
be
into it.
on that? Yeah. Well, that I think if we think it's going to happen, then maybe that informs some of the rest of the betting that we do. But it seems like, good God, like there's just no way. It's plus money for a red flag. I get that there's extenuating circumstances for a red flag versus a full safety car, but it
Hmm.
just seems like it's gonna happen given the conditions and given the circumstances.
Hmm.
Plus
Even
money,
a red,
Travis.
even a red flag
If you think
because
about it, yeah.
it's too wet.
Even a red flag because it's too wet. Like, and well, okay, I have to get an updated forecast. Like, it looked like there was a decent amount of rain that they were expecting, right?
Well, maybe let's just bridge that gap right now. We've
Sure.
gotten into trouble in the past. We've been doing this for a few years. I don't want to bet on the rain. I don't really want to bet against the rain. I'd
Yeah.
love to find some ways where, like this, for example, you've got all the rookies. We've got red flags here historically. Then the rain maybe helps it and helps our thinking on it. I like that approach. I don't want to say, for example, oh, the McLaren took less downforce and that's why they're so much faster,
Yeah.
and the rain's going to
Okay.
ruin them because they're not going to have. Let's not have those types
We're not
of
gonna have
leans on
a
week one
spa
here.
2022 moment. That's fine. We won't. We'll
Yeah.
avoid that. That's completely fine. Okay. But so then I guess, how do you feel? How do you feel about chaos happening at the Australian Grand Prix in a world where every time we bet on this race, something crazy happens? I think every single race that we bet on has had a red flag. That's how I feel. I don't know if that's actually true, but it seems like we've got a very high percentage of red flags in this race happening, and you've got the conditions and you've got the personnel that are going to be driving this year.
I like it. I was
You like
looking
it?
for a way. I mean,
Okay.
I went to the number of classified drivers.
Okay.
They have that break even around three or four
Yeah.
come out of the race.
Yeah.
The odds, I mean, you're taking minus money really.
I know. And why
It's
are cars
interesting.
coming out of the race? Like, why do they think they think cars are not because of reliability? I mean, yeah, there could be a reliability problem first race of the year, but we've seen final year of the regulations, the chances of having those issues in the race. I mean, maybe you get one car with that type of issue, but I think the other cars that come out are coming out because of damage, potentially.
Now, the big concern is the FIA does everything they can to not throw a red flag. Like we're very much let's try to keep them racing,
Right.
and yet it is
I-
safety is of utmost importance and probably the most it's ever been. So
Well, if you
there,
have a big shunt, you can't do anything about it, right? Like
so
that's
there's
the other
walls
side of the
here.
coin. And we don't, yeah, exactly. That's the problem ultimately in the end. So you have to clear the debris, you have to stop the progress of the race, and it's just keeps happening. It's happened in the past in better conditions with more experienced personnel. It happened last year, and you had all the same drivers on the grid, and it was sunny, right?
Okay,
Did happen last
I'm gonna
year.
start it
Yeah,
down with
yeah.
the we're a little more limited with the only using Riverside to go live. Love Riverside, but I think I'm just gonna throw our stars into the chat. Red flag,
Why not? I like that.
red flag plus 120.
Now, did you just on the note of chaos happening?
Hmm.
I had minus 150 for safety car and virtual safety car in the race.
And though
Yes.
that's how they
Yeah,
get you.
and I know. And I'm like, is there, yeah, it maybe just goes right to a safety car ultimately. It could. It depends on what happens. But they do a lot of trying virtual first, right? Usually
Yeah,
they do. But
I don't
because
like
it's a
this one
street
as
track,
much.
okay. So you like the plus money one. I'm okay with that too. Yeah.
Red light. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a starting point.
It's on the board. Like, and I think
The
what it
biggest
is
thing, man,
it's
is
an
there's
acknowledgement.
rookies. There's
Yeah,
rookies.
I know.
The Haas hasn't looked super reliable. Now they can probably just retire. Yeah, I mean, let's
He
see.
can retire.
We've got a
Yeah.
star on it. We're only looking
Okay.
for 3 or 4.
Okay.
Did you have
You
anything
think
else that you wanted to take us through? Because my main
I
leans are in the groups.
got lots of things. I got lots of things I wanted to look at. Do you want to let's have a conversation about the front? Like, are you looking at Group One at all? Do you want to talk about
No.
the front of the grid? You're not.
So maybe I'm being too cautious. It's race
Yeah.
one. The
Yes.
McLarens are 1-2. I think the
Yes.
Ferraris are out of position because they did their lap a little bit earlier. Like
Okay.
when Leclerc did his lap, he put it provisional pole, and then it was
Yeah.
the moment of hey, the McLaren's got him. The McLaren. So I don't if he's the last across the line. There's huge track evolution here. Um, you've also got Verstappen right there behind Lando, and Lando on pole. Yeah, he converted in was it Singapore where he converted the one time that we bet on him not to. Um, I,
Did he was he on pole in Abu Dhabi? Yeah, he
or
converted to
was it
pole
Abu
in Abu
Dhabi?
Dhabi, right? Yeah, I think he converted to
Maybe
pole
that's
in
what
Abu
I'm thinking.
Dhabi.
Yeah. Um,
He could do it. Like there's no reason. Like I was looking, you could get plus 162 for Lando to just win the race with advanced with what is it,
the
enhanced win.
enhanced one.
Like there's just that might be the best value that you get on McLaren all year. And again, we kind of talked about this before with so they're going to take advantage of the flexi wing regulations until the TD comes in for
Hmm.
Barcelona race 9. They've looked. Nobody wants to say they look. I feel like a lot of the media is trying their best to downplay how truthfully dominant McLaren probably will be in this early window, because they want it to seem like it's going to be a really interesting year, and I still think it will. And I think that technical directive will change things for sure for the rest of the season. But for the first 8 races, like this is good. It's going to be a continuation of what we saw at the end of last year, which was they had the best car. Lando is proving that he can win the race from the front. Like they have the best long run data. He qualified on pole.
Hmm.
Unless something crazy happens, which of course it can, he should win the race easily. He should win the race. Literally, he should win it easily, and I think he could.
Do you think he's that easily over Oscar?
Yeah. Well, that's the other side of the coin, but I think having Max in between them is like, or
Max
Max
isn't
getting
between
in
them.
between them. Max getting in between them, I think, is a possibility, and that will change things. I also think at the beginning of the year, having Oscar start. I mean, if you get on pole, like, listen, buddy, if you qualify ahead of Lando and get on pole, and it's your home race, and you're going to get the strategy advantage, we're going to try to prioritize you. But he couldn't do it. This has
Hmm.
been again Oscar's Achilles heel. Lando qualified ahead of him, and I expect that Lando holds the lead into turn 1, and that he just wins the race out front. And that's going to be Oscar's job to keep Max behind. And I can see Max, maybe getting him on strategy, potentially racecraft, or Oscar holds him off. But that's the battle, is between P2 and P3.
Hmm. I didn't come in today wanting to look at the top. I'll be totally honest with everyone.
It's okay.
Part of that is that I am worried that they've just taken less downforce. But you're right. Like coming out of practice, oh, they're so much better, and they were better in the long runs. Coming out of testing is what I meant. Then coming out of practice, oh, the McLaren looks the best. Then they put it on pole, and it's both of them. Maybe they are just that quick.
I think, like, I don't know if we're going to get this price. Like, first of all, plus money is crazy for the. So leader it out. Like, that's just Lando Norris. We're not taking into consideration the pole sitter at Albert Park, which is like whatever, a 70% conversion rate. It is difficult to overtake, like we talked about. And you could get a bunch of stoppages and restarts. I don't know if that means that. I think he can continue to hold a lead if he has to do that on restarts, because the McLaren has looked the best at managing its tires, even with all the FP2 data and all the testing data that we looked at. Like, they're not going to run into a problem with tire warm up like some of the other constructors could have with like stops and starts, right? I don't see that being an issue. I think Verstappen might run into that problem, to be honest.
Hmm.
And that's why I think it's going to be a battle between Oscar and Max for P2 and P3.
Do you think George enters that battle at all?
No, I don't. I mean, at the beginning, like, maybe he sticks his nose in at the beginning, but I just don't think that they have the pace to be able to fight with those teams.
I don't love it as much as the red flag. It's just picking the race. Okay, I'm gonna stop
I
myself.
like,
Like it's picking the race
yeah,
winner in race one. But I get what you're saying.
yeah.
If McLaren is going to be that dominant, we're never going to see this again with Lando on pole.
My personal opinion was I would much rather just take Lando to win than have a red flag. Is like you're flipping a coin. Like, is it going to happen? I think it is going to
Hmm.
happen. Like, Lando is a logical choice for all the reasons that we just talked about. If he does something to screw that up, or weather gets in his way, then you kind of put your hands up and go, all right. It's the value. Like, if this was minus 200, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I'd be like,
I
well,
hear
why
you.
would you
It's
take
all
it
the
at minus
value.
200? It's plus 162.
They don't have Lando and Oscar on the podium together. I guess you got to go like what double podium down here, both cars podium.
Yeah. But
Did
like
you look at
combination
that?
podium, yeah, but I don't want to take two cars
Plus
because
120.
it's a street track. Yeah, you might as well just take, sorry, Lando to win is plus 162.
No, I know,
But
but
both
then
cars, yeah.
yeah, you get either of them winning. You get Oscar winning, or you get like Max or George. Just I'm worried George is going to start on hards and just pit once and do something
I just
crazy.
don't. I mean, I don't, like, I'm a big FP2 long run pace guy. Like, they don't have the pace that McLaren has. And if anything, like, let's say McLaren is in a class of its own and it's just Lando and Oscar running away with it, which is completely possible. Because again,
Mhm.
this is the first race of the year. We've seen that trend with Red Bull over the first races in this period of time. Um, I think it's going to be ultimately then Max fighting with George, right, for P3, maybe potentially. I think Charles is going to get up there. Like Charles should get up
I
there,
think
and
Charles gets up there. Yeah.
he should finish ahead of George. I think ultimately. I just don't see why Mercedes is going to be. I don't know why George is going to be relevant.
Well,
I guess that's my concern.
you're on the line. Like the top two dual forecasts both have Lando, and is it Max or Oscar in P2?
Yeah. I looked at the combination TriCast at plus 350, and I'm like, this might be the easiest TriCast of the year. Because
Plus
just
350
because Charles has to
because
start
Charles is so far out.
7, and not like he's going to make up positions, and I think he'll finish 4th if the cream rises to the top.
Yeah,
I think Charles finishes P4. I think he finishes ahead of George
because the
ultimately
Ferrari
because
doesn't have that much inherent pace over Max. Like maybe over the Red
no,
Bull,
yeah,
but not
maybe
over
over
Max.
and over Mercedes. I think certainly like it still has a pace advantage over Mercedes, right? This is like it's not like Mercedes is a new car. It's got this embedded DNA issue. It's going to struggle with tire warm up. If it gets really wet and tricky, I don't really trust George. He doesn't seem to take advantage of the situations. He seems to be one of the guys who makes mistakes. Charles Charles can manage his tires, man. He's good at it. And if graining becomes a problem like we saw last year, he did an amazing job. Like Sainz did the best job ever,
Yeah,
but like Charles did an incredible job too. It's just Sainz just was ahead of him and managed his tires better, right?
yeah. So I want to segue so bad off that because that leads me to one of my leans that I like. But before we move off the winner, I like the combo TriCast so much more than Lando just to win. For everything you just
Okay.
said, the
Okay.
Ferraris are so far
Okay.
back.
Yeah. That's
We're
plus
gonna
350 though.
we're
Yeah.
gonna finish the race though, and it's like that was always going to be the two McLarens and Max because the Ferraris just aren't there. And
Yeah.
in thinking this, what if it rains, Mike? What if it rains mid race and Oscar because he's not the lead car, they pull him in early, but that ends up being he got on the at the right time. Like that is a bit of a gamble, and they could try to give it to Lando. But
you
when
could
you're
come up with
gambling there for one lap, all of a sudden he comes out, and then it's not team orders. Oh, Oscar's leading in his home race. We're not gonna team orders because we pulled him in
no,
early.
dude. I'm not like you can come up with a million different reasons to not like. There's a bunch of scenarios that play
It's
out
so
where
hard to pick the
Max
race
overtakes him.
winner.
No, but I guess my point is it's not that hard to pick it when it's plus 162 because like usually you look at these odds. Like it's always Max on
Yeah,
pole,
but
and you look at it, and he's like minus 250, he's minus 500 or whatever it is. Even Lando at the end of last year when he was getting on pole, you were getting heavy shorted bets and odds. It's plus 162. Like you might as well take.
but it's
He could
let's
easily
do the
win.
plus three
He could.
fifty.
No, but that's okay. I'm fine with the plus 350. I want you to compare the value of 3 cars have to finish in whatever order, but they have to finish the Australian Grand Prix. Like
Dude,
that's the
you're
concern.
talking like the Australian Grand Prix is a demolition derby. I don't
It
think
is,
it
dude.
is.
What are you talking about? It. Look at the history of it. It is in the last couple of years. It has absolutely been a demolition derby, and I'm saying I think this year is even. It's potentially you've got all the factors that could converge to make it like a even more of a demolition derby than it's been in the
Yeah, but
past.
the rookies aren't at the top. Max,
No, but they
Oscar,
could be.
and Lando are not. I'm not going to say it. They're not. They're not though.
No, I doubt it. I do doubt it. But again, and listen, if you're interested in the TriCast, I'm interested in the TriCast because I do think that so you've got McLaren. I think Oscar probably ultimately will win out over Max because the Red Bull is weird, right?
Max blew. This is the race Max blew up
It's really
last year,
weird.
right? It
Yeah,
wasn't. It
yeah.
wasn't an incident. It wasn't a crash. And then what? Both Mercedes came out. I forget exactly what happened with Mercedes, but they weren't even at the top. This isn't like a turn one is a demolition derby.
No,
I'm not
I'm
entering
not
this race
saying
worried
it
that
is.
Max and Lando and Oscar
No.
don't finish. I'm worried the
Okay, so then,
rookies have mistakes.
well, I like because then you're just leaning more toward plus
I'm
350. I
leaning
do
more
think
toward. You've convinced me that like yeah, Lando's on pole. He's probably going to win this race. And the more we talk
yes.
about it, no one else is getting to that podium. So let's
No,
just take the longer odds.
okay, yeah, I'm interested. Again, my only reservation on that because I do think that there's just like it's the top 3 and then the rest, and you're at plus 350, you actually are getting good value. My
Great
only
value.
consideration for that is if something happens, does it jeopardize it? Do they get a massive delta then you have something that happens at no, even then, never mind. Okay, I'm interested in that. If you
You're
want to
thinking of
explore that more.
I'm looking at all the races the past couple of years. You're thinking of that one where it was like 2 laps to go and the Alpines crashed into each other. That's nothing to do with the Australian Grand Prix. That was like in an open part of the track. They just ran into each other.
Yeah, and we were on them. So
Yeah, we were.
which is just unfucking believable.
Dude, I'm down. I like the plus 350 for the combo TriCast.
You had said that you wanted to go in a different direction. What did you want to bring up? Because we were talking about the Mercedes and the Ferrari. What did you want to say?
I don't think the chat is connected properly. I typed into it on Riverside. It didn't show up. I do see Biz Nasty and Iwa. Well, what's up? Can you guys let us know? Does Mike look way better than last year? Because that's the whole intent here. He should be looking and sounding better. I'm taking us to the groups, Mike.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc. You just told me for 20 minutes how he's going to climb the field and finish fourth. I don't think Lewis is ready yet to beat Charles.
No.
He might not get ready. Like, I don't know. Charles is very, very good. Very good. And the car is so different. Maybe like next year when they both start in a new machine and have to learn it together. But the more you hear Lewis talk and Carlos talk about, like, their data's upside down in the Ferrari garage. So I don't think Lewis is a risk this week unless there's, but we're not betting on incidents. So Alex starts right ahead of Charles.
Yeah.
It's a Ferrari against the Williams over the course of a Grand Prix.
No, he's not a threat to hold him up like that.
And then Sainz is way behind, and it's like, again, it's a Ferrari against the Williams, and it's minus 188, dude. It's in our window.
No, I know. I did see that, and I wrote it down, and I'm interested in it. My biggest plus for Leclerc is, again, we know that they've really looked good on managing DEG and graining here, and that in FP2 that trend continued. They still look good. They had and their race execution in general has been good, right? They've been good.
Yeah.
Under Fred. Like last year under Fred, they were great.
Yeah, they don't have the DEG issues that they had 2 years ago.
No, and actually they've flipped it on its head. Like they're actually probably the best team at it right now.
In fact,
outside of McLaren. Yeah.
If there's graining, which there's not really here, but if there's graining, it's like, oh, Ferrari's going to jump to the top of the field. Somehow. Yeah, like a tire issue.
Ferrari is going to be, and we've talked about this before, like they're going to be one of the teams that their strategy is going to look good because they have a good car, right? I think Leclerc, like you said, is out of position because of when he did his push lap.
I think that's all it was. He pushed too. Yeah, they did it too early.
I think so. And then and again, Lewis is not representative of where the Ferrari is right now. And yeah, it's going to suck that he starts in P7, but he's still going to be fourth in the end. So I do agree.
Yeah, he's going to be fourth.
He's going to finish out of the Williams and Lewis. Like I'm not
and Yuki in the V carb or whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned about it at all.
Okay, well, this is the one that I liked on the way in.
Okay, 100%. Like I'm very interested in that. I'm more interested. Like I wrote down Yuki in Group 3 just because of the.
Well, I was going to take you there next.
Yeah. Are you interested in Yuki?
Yeah, I came in with leans on Group 3, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. So I like Yuki because
so Yuki's up against. I'll scroll it down. Yuki's up against Gasly, who ahead, right? No, way back, 9th. So Yuki's in 5th.
Yuki's 5. Yeah,
he's got 5. Gasly, Kimi Antonelli, and Liam Lawson.
It's kind of crazy that he got
minus 175.
Yeah. That might be better than the minus 188 for Charles, but maybe not.
The one thing
the
is
only risk. Go.
Well, there's 2 risks. One,
him.
Yeah. 3 risks. 1, him. 2, the Alpine has overperformed, been better than expected throughout testing, throughout practice, probably even in this qualifying. The fact that Gasly was in Q3. The RBs have also overperformed better than expected throughout testing, throughout practice, and today in qualifying. So this is a bet for me that gives me confidence just because of track position. Concern number 1, Yuki's got to stay in the race. If he does, there's so many spots between them. I think that protects it. Concern number 3, Antonelli did have damage in his car, which is why he caused the damage. He went wide, but they confirmed it, right? He had floor damage, which is why he didn't get through. George did put the same machine in P2 at the time, but he's got so far to gain on him.
This is a track position bet, and it's one that again, I think because it's the first race of the year and there's still so many question marks that you're getting incredible value at, right? Like this is usually you're going to get this type of Yuki bet at minus 175, and he's starting with track position on like the 3 grid slots behind him, not
Hmm.
Lawson and Antonelli, who are rookies who are off essentially the out of the points, like not even close to him.
No.
And then sorry, who's the other person he has to beat? It's
Gasly. Gasly starts
Gasly.
ninth.
Yeah, and I'm not that concerned about. I mean, Gasly is a good wet weather driver. If things get wet, obviously
The Alpines,
he can
yeah,
make up
came
some
to
positions for
life
sure.
in
Yeah,
Brazil.
in Brazil they did, and he's good. He's good. He's good in wet weather. He's one of
Yeah.
those quote
Does that
unquote
mean
wet
he's a
weather
good?
specialists.
Does that mean he's a good driver?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know.
you know
I
what?
don't
I
know what
don't
to say about
dislike
Gasly.
Gasly. I don't dislike
Neither do
Gasly.
I. No,
No.
he's a good defensive driver and good race. I don't think he's going to go and get when Gasly qualifies well. He's pretty good at holding his grid position. I don't really think he's a threat to just like drive up to P7 or something if that's where Yuki ends up finishing, right? Or P8. You know what I mean?
They're
Like
gonna.
he's going to be
We're gonna
wanting
take
to
this.
finish 10. Yeah.
We're gonna take this, and the broadcast, as it always does, is gonna be
Yeah.
showing this battle for P9 with like 5 laps left to go, and they're gonna be battling with DRS on each other, because Yuki will come back. I'm gonna make a huge. I'm gonna
There.
make a prediction here, Mike. You ready for it?
Yeah. What is it?
I think Yuki and Lawson switch sometime during this year.
I I wouldn't be surprised by that. I'm not. Liam Lawson is going to be.
They
He's going to
gotta
get beat up.
they gotta
He's
give
going to get
Yuki a
annihilated.
chance. He's
Yeah.
only
He's
been
going to get
improving through his
annihilated.
career,
Yeah.
and the RB is it's decent enough in the midfield that he is going to be able to have these moments of brilliance where he pops it up there.
Yeah.
I think it's cutthroat in that team. I don't know if they allowed to do that, just swap drivers mid-season
No, no. I
from
think they can do
like
whatever they want.
between teams. Yeah, I think they can just do what they want, right?
Yeah, they can do that. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think Yuki ends up in that seat instead of Liam
So
by the end of the
can
year.
you? So I like that you have like just like a long term fade on Liam because I saw this race match bet and I'm like, this kind of seems obvious to me to be honest. It's kind of cool that they did it this way because usually you only see it at the end of the year. If you go to race match bets, you see Antonelli versus Lawson. Antonelli at minus 175,
Hmm.
and he's starting ahead, and I'm like convinced that Lawson is coming out of this race, and that's pure conjecture, it's pure feeling, but he does start behind him. And I don't think that he's looked good at all. He's made a bunch of mistakes, and the chances of him being able to make up grid positions versus staying in the race, like I would be
Mhm.
surprised if he could just stay in the race, to be honest, at this point.
I don't love I don't hate where you're going with this, and you probably are going to be right. Let's not bet on a rookie this
Yeah.
week.
Okay, that's fine. I
Antonelli
just wanted.
Antonelli got cut
I
out of
like the bet.
qualifying
Yeah,
because he damaged his car. So
he did. He has way more pace in the car, but that's the point. Obviously, he should
and
be probably in the P6 range.
to your point though, actually, well, I don't know this. I could see this going either way. I think Antonelli has way less pressure on him than
Oh
Liam
yeah,
does.
way less.
Like, but is Toto saying, "Hey, just go drive as fast as you can. If you crash, no big deal." I don't think so. I think it would be more likely, "Hey, we don't care if you're in the points. Just get used to it. Get used to the race. Stay in the race. Do a full race distance." In which case, but Liam needs to get into the points. He's got to save his seat because Yuki's coming.
Liam getting into the points is why he's coming out of this race. Like if this is 100, there's no chance he finishes this race. He's gonna come out.
Okay, before we move off, I moved off it, but let's go back to the groups because I liked Group 4 too.
What did you say?
Tell me why Alonso doesn't finish ahead of Hadjar, Stroll, and Hulkenberg.
Um,
Alonso starts in 12th.
I don't like it
Hadjar-
as much as the other ones.
Hadjar
Yeah.
starts in 11th.
Yeah.
The other two, Stroll is 13th, right behind Alonso, and Hulk is in 17th. So you got Alonso against his teammate, a rookie, and a guy that in the worst car on the grid and way behind him for plus
Yeah.
money.
I I don't know what it is, and because I looked at that and I'm like, for the exact same reasons that you brought up, it seemed obvious.
Hmm.
I just I don't know what to make of Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso in it right now. Like he thought he could make Q3, he had picked up some damage,
Hmm.
which I thought was a plus. But I don't know, man. The way that he finished last year, the fact that he had essentially no confidence in the car, I don't know if things have changed that much. And as seems like as soon as things start going wrong for him, like if he's not getting the start that he wants, or the car's not responding the same way that he thinks it should during the race, that he kind of just like gives up. He doesn't give a shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's not like he doesn't care to get like P10. You know what I mean? He's not fighting for it. And a guy like Hadjar in his first race, who's going to be hungry to get points and prove that he belongs in the team,
He's also
like I don't think
hot-headed.
that there's true, and he maybe runs into him. I don't know, but like my concern would be that, and I'm not concerned about Stroll. It's Hadjar. Hadjar would be the guy
It's
that I'm worried
Hadjar.
about because I think that there's pace in the Racing Bulls.
I think there's
That guy
more
could, like,
pace than the Aston Martins.
I think you're probably right. And he could easily make a mistake. He seems like he's that guy could
Okay.
drive into a wall for sure. I don't know what it is though. The other two group bets, I'm completely in agreement with you. I think the leader in the group, the amount of track position they have is
Hmm.
huge. I think they're in a better car and they're better drivers. This one's weird, and they don't have the same. He doesn't have the same track position advantage.
Okay.
Okay.
What about this one?
Yeah.
Oh, did they change it? Wait, where did I see? Oh yeah. Hulk versus Bortoleto.
I
Hulk's
can't
minus
even read.
150.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I know. Like
No.
nothing there for me.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we
can't
just
get a read at
why
all.
be on the Saubers? Why be on the stakes at all?
Yeah, like it just and not. It's not that Bortoleto is like not a. He's not like a pay driver. You know what I mean? He's not like it's not a Joe. He's not
No,
a
he's I
chump.
mean he's good.
He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Defending he
Yeah,
won
he's
three
good.
F3 and F2, right? Back to back.
Yeah. So like if he
But
starts ahead of Hulk and
is he
finishes ahead of him, it's not that crazy, right? Like
you think he might be better than Hulk?
I don't know if he's better than Hulk. I'm just saying he starts ahead of Hulk
Yeah.
in this race, and for him to finish ahead of him, it's not that crazy.
Okay.
Wouldn't be, right? The Haas is, or not the Haas, right? The Sauber is the same. Like the Sauber and the Haas are both like irrelevant. It seems like right now.
I think the Haas is even worse.
I think the Haas is even worse.
How
You're
did
right.
they just lost the Haas? And they have a
Hey, do you
terrible
like?
driver
Do you
combo.
like? I was looking at the match bets there. Like, kind of want to do a. I don't want to take Carlos Sainz here. Like I got
Plus
Sainz versus
137.
Albon at plus 137, and then I had man plus. This is a crazy bet,
I don't
but
think
it's
it's
not
long
that
enough for
crazy,
the track position in the same car.
dude. Plus 200 for top six for Carlos Sainz. And hear me out. The only reason I'm saying that is
Talk it out though,
a
because
like
who like
yeah,
you're expecting chaos at the top. Maybe that's a nice combination with the combo TriCast.
that's what I was going to say. Like it's
Yeah.
you got to take advantage somehow of cars coming out because I think again the book is acknowledging it's going to happen. So I went into looking at the book thinking I love the points bets and I love the top six bets, and I was kind of yeah, it was a bit dejecting to see the odds for the points bets because there wasn't as much value as I
No,
thought
there's
there could
not.
be.
No.
Right? Like there is like I was like Gasly is interesting, but like I don't know necessarily if I want to get into relying on Alpine to, you know what I mean? It
The
was a little bit
Williams
too iffy for me.
I looked on
Williams
Wednesday
is the
and
guy.
the
Yeah.
Williams had decent odds, but then they put it too high. Like they ruined that for us.
Yeah. Well, then, but like I think science starting P10 is the probably the most. I think when you look at the grid and you project movement, I think he has the potential to move the most. I guess is what I'm
He
saying.
loves this track.
He loves his track. I think, man, their race pace, the FP2 like projections and race pace, they were good. They're like a real threat to, I don't know,
Am I
Mercedes.
just
Like
thinking
realistically, like, yeah, like
am I just thinking
realistically,
of the one time that a gust of wind turned Alex into a kite? Or
yeah, but that's
has he struggled here more than that one time?
um, I think he's struggled here more than that one time, and there's been times where he like has looked really good, like in practice. I think actually that time where he was a DNF for us. He looked like amazing during all the practice sessions and qualifying, and then like yeah, of course, like gust of wind just blows him off.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like he just doesn't get good results here. That's like see, that's maybe that could be
And
completely wrong, but
Carlos
I feel
does.
like that's the case.
So who comes
Carlos
out?
does.
So who comes out? Or who
I mean,
doesn't?
there's no point
So
in betting. There's no point in thinking about that.
no, I
Anybody can
want to
come
think
up.
it through.
Yeah. Well, Albon could come
You're
out.
getting
That's my
you're
question.
getting too much hype and glaze in the chat here. So we gotta poke some holes in this.
Okay.
Yeah, the guys are they're all over you today.
They love it.
Yeah, he had red flag where it's plus 120. We've got it starred. That was the first thing we talked about. We like
Here
the
we
red
go.
flag with all these rookies.
Yeah.
And Mike thinks
Awesome.
it's a demolition derby out there.
Dude.
Both McLarens, Max,
Yeah.
Charles.
We're on the combo track, guys. Yeah.
Charles is 4.
Charles, yeah.
George. So it's a battle of Well, he's got to get Alex too.
That's why I'm like, do you make it just him versus Alex, or do you give him all the grid positions? Because like
Him versus Alex is 137.
I know, and like I kind of would rather get the grid positions. I might actually rather pay the 200 and get the grid positions and just have him beat Alex. Because like
What it helps is
realistically,
the combo tricast, big time,
yes,
and he's in Leclerc's group.
yeah, like it would be crazy to maybe we go the group bets and maybe we have four bets and you do group bets and then you do those two like plus money bets. I don't like I'm willing to try any approach for the Australian Grand Prix because it's been a shit show for us. So I don't
The
really care.
four that we
But
have starred right now without any sort of matchup in the Williams is the red
yeah,
flag plus 120, the combo tri-class of the McLarens and Max 350. We have
yeah,
Leclerc Group 2 minus 188
yeah,
and Yuki Group 3 minus 175. 2 minus 2 plus. I'm not
yeah.
sure we need to pick between the Williams. I'm
Yeah,
just
like
so I'm so happy for the
honestly,
Williams in general. Like the rising tide is lifting their both boats.
yeah. Well, I what I would suggest is that we need to come to a conclusion on. So the problem with these bets, like I'm leaning away from the red flag at this point. The problem with these bets is we have too many cars. You know what I mean? Like the combo TriCast, you need all three cars.
Dude, this
Um,
isn't. I just disagree that like this isn't Baku. This isn't Monaco. This isn't Singapore.
it's a
It's a
straight track,
purpose.
dude.
It's
Yeah.
not though everywhere. There's runoff in places. It's
All
not
right.
all walls.
Okay.
There's gravel and runoff. I think it's
Yes,
it's the rookies that are going to crash into each other is why I
sure.
think red flag is likely.
Are you are you more interested or less interested? Like, do you want to entertain this at all? Just tell me yes or no.
What?
What
Entertain what?
here? Entertain a Williams bet.
Oh,
And if do you want to entertain signs to finish ahead of Albon or signs to finish in the top six? Those are the two that I looked at that I thought they made sense.
I think the signs in the top six compares really well if we're going to be on the combo tricast, and the biggest risk is one of them comes out.
Yes,
So
it
maybe
does.
it's
I
that
completely
instead
agree.
of the red flag then.
Yes, I would rather do that.
Because if Leclerc comes out, let's go back to his group. Sainz is in that
Yeah,
group. Who else is in there?
yeah,
Lewis and Alex.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but this is why you don't take Albon versus Signs, right? That's
This is
why
why
you
you
just
don't
make the
pick
top
between
six.
them. You just take the track
Yeah,
position.
because if Albon finishes ahead, I don't think he will. I think that Signs is going to finish ahead of him. But
I agree.
if he does, then you and something happens at the front, then you could get them both theoretically,
I agree.
right?
Maybe that's the most likely to lose though in our slip. Even though it's going to
Maybe,
be
yeah,
decent odds.
maybe, yeah.
Or it's plus
I agree.
200.
It's plus 200, yeah. Like it's actually kind of like shorter than I expected it to be, but I think that's a reflection of what the book thinks that Signs and the Williams are capable of. Yeah, they look good. Like they
They
literally
look
look
good.
good. The other angle on Leclerc, like I'd rather I think take the minus 188, but there was the minus 125 for Ferrari to finish ahead of Mercedes. It's like literally just we talked about Leclerc getting ahead of George. You seem like you had a bit of
Mm,
reservation.
yeah.
I think I would rather.
What I
It's
what
only
I liked about
it's
Leclerc's
one
group is
driver.
George is not in that group. You're not picking between Charles and George in that group.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why I
and I
liked
mean
it.
you get better. You get it's longer, right? At plus 120 or minus 125, so you get a little bit more value.
I liked Red Bull versus Ferrari. Well, I'm not sure I liked it. I jotted it down. Minus
Red Bulls.
150.
Oh, for Max to finish ahead of
But we're on the combo
Charles.
tricast, so we wouldn't take both.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know about that.
No.
I do like
It's interesting
I
though.
like Red
Minus
Bull
150.
versus yeah, I like Red Bull versus Mercedes. I liked like can Max finish ahead of George? I think yes.
Minus
I'd rather do
138.
that. I'd rather do that
That's
over the minus
interesting.
150. Yeah. Like and that's just a symptom of Charles starting in P7. But
But
again, we both think
I'd
that he's
rather
going to
be
be
on the
P4.
combo. Let's be on the combo for big money.
To be on the combo for big money. Fuck, I hope these guys don't smash into each other, but I'm interested in it.
We can't be scared of the top three
No,
running into each other every single race.
I know.
Turn one is not the issue here.
No.
It's a
If it
gust of
happens, it
wind in
happens.
turns 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Half the guys that went off this weekend would have hit that wall, but they've all been able to go straight through the gravel. and just hurt their floors and spray gravel everywhere.
Yeah, which will probably happen, and then there'll be a safety car,
So I've got
or they're going to
five
use red
starred.
flag.
I've got five starred right now.
Did you take the red flag off?
No, that's one of the five. If we want to think about it, or we don't need five.
5 is a lot. Like, I don't know if I want. Okay, go through them again. What do we have?
Red flag plus 120. The combo TriCast of the McLarens and the Red Bulls plus 350 or max.
Yeah.
Group 2 Leclerc minus 188. Group 3 Yuki minus 175. And then Sainz top 6 is a 200.
I think I would do everything but the red flag,
Yeah, I think so too.
right? Like, I would do those 4. I like the idea of having 4 because 2 of them are plus money,
2 plus, 2 minus.
right? And they're pretty like short. The minuses
Yeah.
are pretty short.
Like, do we just keep it simple? Go like 350, 350, 150, 150, or 1 and 150?
Probably, yeah, like
Or 1,
something like
1 and
that.
2?
I would be. I'm okay with that. So I mean, again, you can't. You need Yuki to finish the race. Okay. I mean, hope he's got
Yeah,
so
we
much
need
pressure on
Yuki
him.
to
Hopefully
finish
he
the
does.
race. But
But
if
again,
Yuki
we need
if
you to finish
Yuki's
the
out of
race.
the way in the 6, like that's one car that
Yeah.
Sainz has to go get.
I know this. There's a good like Carlos. I think Carlos could if nobody comes out of the race. I think it's realistic that Sainz could finish in second.
I
Like
agree.
he could finish ahead of Sonoda. He could finish ahead of Hamilton. He could finish ahead of Albon.
And if
So like
no
it's
one
not.
if no one
Yeah.
comes out of the race, I think it's very likely that Leclerc wins his group and
Yep.
Yuki wins his group and the
Yep.
top 3 stay the same.
Yeah. And like you'd lose that plus 200 bet. That's fine.
And then we're like, okay, so we're on 4, we're on 5 drivers in the top, starting in the top 7. We got 5 of those guys on our slip. So if any one of those comes out, well, we got a guy behind them to come and take some spots.
True. Yeah. You're just like, is it? Hopefully it's not those guys running into each other.
I know the way that I just presented that to you, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do any of these.
I'm just
I know,
nodding.
I know. I could feel it through the screen. You didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
As I presented, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna
My
hate
eyes,
this.
my eyes just went like this. Oh shit! You're right. Okay. I can't wait till Liam Lawson comes out of the race, though. This is gonna be the most obvious pick of all time. What is he not to classify?
What's he not to classify?
It's gonna be. He's like. I think it's like plus 350 or something. It's not even. It's not even that long.
What's the category? Classified finisher?
But yeah, I think so.
I can never find it. To be
Sorry,
classified.
it might be to be classified. Yeah, I think it's like yes, no.
Let's scroll all the way down. Plus 333.
Plus, yeah, there you go. Okay, and people are. I thought it was plus 350. People are buying it. Chaps, they're buying it because they brought it up.
There's people that are there's a bunch of people way more likely than him. All the rookies.
What is, like we have like
No,
bets from
Mike.
the
All
people.
the rookies, and then Yuki, and then Liam.
Fuck.
No, man, he's taking that seat.
Yeah. I gotta take it. I actually agree with you. Like I love you're projecting into the future. You get the crystal ball out. I like it. I agree with you.
They're gonna
I think
swap those
he-
seats.
I think he's a legitimate threat for it. And
The
I
question
think
is,
he has a good-
does Liam get demoted or fired? He might get fired. Like what use do you have for Liam to even demote him? Get him out of there and try someone new.
maybe, and then you put
give
like,
Yuki a
yeah,
shot.
and then you give somebody else a shot. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
they have somebody who's ready yet to jump in, but he'll be there for the year. He'll race for Racing Bulls for the rest of the year if that does happen. But
I gotta look up who all the third drivers are. I was surprised to see Joe is the Ferrari third driver. That's on me.
right.
I didn't track it well enough. Like who follows third drivers? I knew Bottas.
for Mercedes, yeah,
Okay.
I think we're
Yeah.
So hold on, I gotta clear the.
We're gonna decide the money here, and then we'll stop. And as a
Yeah,
reminder,
take
we
me
got a
back.
couple people watching. So I mean, you guys are our best fans, so I know that you're here. We are. I'm gonna bring it out at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're in Toronto. We're gonna after this, we're just gonna make a video that's only the bet slips, and that's gonna come out on YouTube. So set a reminder, 7 p.m. tonight. Come back, like and subscribe. It's only gonna be like 3 or 5 minutes. We're hoping that that's more consumable for a general audience instead of people listening to us jibber jabber for an hour. So thank you. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
What the fuck does this happen every time? Straight. Oh, here we go. Okay. We did what? 350. 350. Vancouver Science. So do we want to just do, yeah, it'll be even between
Do you want to just do
the
them?
TriCast
Yeah.
and signs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
150,
want to?
150.
Yeah. 150, 150. That's going to be a decent payout if it hits.
Yeah, it would be good if we were to win these bets. Okay. Leclerc, Sonoda,
I just had that feeling like the race
signs.
isn't about to start. I liked it last year where we were right
It was-
before.
it was-
It's not great for
Yeah.
viewership, so we're changing it.
Yeah.
But
I know.
it was nice that
though.
we
Just
finished,
go
and it's like,
right
all
into the
right,
race.
it's gonna race right
Let's
now.
see what
Lights
happens.
out.
Yeah. Okay. Stop. Lando, Max, and Oscar combination. Okay. Will it let me? Oh, I need to use the Bet365 Authenticator app to put some
Ooh.
bets in the browser.
Okay, well, I think so. We're okay. So let's do a quick recap for everyone. Listen closely. The bet one, Charles Leclerc, Group 2. It's minus 188. We got $350 on it. Group 3, we're taking Yuki, minus 175. We got $350 on it. We're on Sainz to squeak into the top 6 plus 200. We got $150 on that one. And the combo TriCast of Lando, Oscar, and Max in any order plus 350. We got 150 on that one. I'm excited. Thanks for coming back. You guys are here week 1. That's unreal. Come back tonight, 7 p.m., 6 hours from now. We're going to have the highlight show come out. Come back to that. Give us a view. Share it. Like. Subscribe. F1000. We're back for the 2025 season. Let's go. Cool. That was not the highlight.